the first BWI working paper series. If you see here, BWPS number 1, yeah. BWI is a regulator of wakaf in Indonesia, and we are so lucky that our colleague, lecturer from IPB, Dr. Irfan Sokibek, is one of the important persons, yeah, in this Badan Wakaf Indonesia, yeah. And this is the first working paper series, and we are so happy that our first working paper is about how to calculate national wakaf index, a measurement of wakaf performance. Yeah, so I have made this. This is a free download. Yeah, you can just write Google in the Google. Just write this one, National Wakaf Index, measurement for wakaf performance. It will come up. Yeah, I have make a summary in the form of PowerPoint. So I will just need to discuss the PowerPoint only. Yeah. Okay. My name is Professor Dr. Aditya Sumana. I'm currently the head of the study program in Islamic doctorate degree in Islamic Economic Program in Fakultas Ekonomi and Business Universitas Airlangga, Surabaya. So if you for those of you who are coming from other than Indonesia, just to give you some description about Surabaya. Surabaya is the capital city of East Java. Bogor is the city in the West Java, and we have Central Java. And further to the east, we have East Java, and the capital city of East Java is Surabaya. And further east, after the East Java, we have Bali. So I'm sure you know Bali rather than Indonesia, right? That's the most common for foreigners, know Bali more rather than Indonesia. Okay, I believe you already understand this one. So wakaf, the important point is that, okay, the definition is like this, yeah, release of the ownership of the dedicated property from the person making wakaf to Allah, yeah, so that the produce and income generated from the mawquf are available only for religious and humanity purposes. Yeah, and it has to be perpetuity, irrevocable, and inalienable. Perpetuity means that it's different with the with the zakat. You know, we have to be I mean, Islam has already teach us a complete ways in doing things, right? For those of the poor people who are at that particular time is in need of food, yeah, we have zakat. So zakat means aims for the more towards consumptive purposes. So for those of the fuqara and masakin, let's say a grandma, yeah, grandmother who doesn't have family. I mean, her husband died already. All the children left his house, her house. Maybe they have to work out outside the city. Let's say, yeah. So she is living alone and sick, yeah, in her house. So really, it depends on others. So in that particular case, then Amil Zakat has to give her something which can be directly consumed, like food, meals, and so on, right? But Islam also introduced us other than giving for consumptive purposes, giving in which the corpus or the assets has to be maintained, and that is called wakaf. Yeah. So perpetuity means that you cannot consume. It has to be maintained and it has to be generated to get the profit. Yeah. Irrevocable. I mean, irrevocable cannot be taken back. by the Waqif. Let's say Waqif has already donate a certain piece of land as Waqaf, then Iqrar has been made, and right a second after that one, he want to revoke back, want to take back the land. Cannot. It is irrevocable. It cannot be taken back. Inalienable, cannot be transferred. Yeah, cannot be transferred for other things. Cannot. Yeah, except if it is used for government purposes. Yeah, for example, the government has made a plan that to build a road, yeah, from one city to another city, which cross the Wakaf land, and that can be transferred to other place, but for only that one, yeah, for only the purpose by the government. Other things cannot. That's why it is inalienable. And based on the purpose, we have Wakaf Khairi and Wakaf Ahli. Wakaf Khairi benefit will be distributed to assist financially individual or general public, khair for the public. And we have also Wakaf Ahli, that is for the children, family of the Waqif. And the mix of this one, Khairi and Ahli, we have Wakaf Mustara. Yeah, Wakaf Mustara is the combinations of the Wakaf Ahli and Wakaf Khairi. And this Wakaf Mustara is actually very interesting. Yeah, because it's a combination. So let's say I want to donate this amount of cash wakaf, let's say, yeah, but I want the return, the profit, let's say 20% of the profit, please send for my tuition of my daughter, let's say. That's okay, yeah, or the school expenses for my daughter or my son. That's fine. That can be done. So that is Wakaf Mustara. Yeah. And then here, you know, the development of Wakaf, if we compare to other development within the Islamic economics and finance, like zakat or Islamic banking, right? Wakaf is much left behind. For sure, the most developed industry within Islamic economic and finance is Islamic banking, right? In the context of Indonesia, we just established the first Islamic banking in the early 90s. In Malaysia, it's even earlier. Malaysia, around 1983, if I'm mistaken. Yeah, 10 years earlier than Indonesia. And then other than Islamic banking, we have zakat. Alhamdulillah, zakat in Indonesia is very much significant in terms of the development. Now, the World Zakat Forum, the head of the World Zakat Forum is from Indonesia. Yeah, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, the second appointment. Yeah, we have a lot of Muslim in Indonesia. Yeah, the largest Muslim countries in Indonesia. We have so many people who are rich and so many people who are poor as well. Yeah, so zakat, wakaf is very important in the context of developing socio-economic in Indonesia. Yeah. What more if we talk about the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals? Almost all of the 17 elements in the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, can be supported by zakat and wakaf, and that is important. And this time, actually, for those of you who are doing research, bachelor thesis, master thesis, or even dissertation for the PhD, if you can connect the role of wakaf, zakat towards solving one or two element in SDGs, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. But the problem in the context of wakaf is that the development is very much left behind. Yeah, many people still they know wakaf, but they don't know that wakaf is actually much more than that one. They only know wakaf in terms of normally there is a jargon which is 3M: masjid, madrasah, and makam. Yeah, makam is a cemetery. Yeah, so those three. But those people do not know, and many of us do not know, that wakaf is actually so much developed, and the development is together with the other Islamic financial institutions. Yeah, currently in Indonesia as well as in Singapore and Malaysia, we have so much example of how to connect wakaf with the Islamic capital market. Yeah, in Indonesia we have cash wakaf link suku, yeah, issued by government. Suku issued by government, and then the Badan Wakaf Indonesia buy that suku with the cash wakaf. In Singapore, there is an example of musyarakah bonds, yeah, musyarakah suku. In Malaysia, they have wakaf saham. Saham is a share, yeah. So many the innovations of the wakaf and capital market. But currently, the challenge is that the lack of understanding. People still understand those 3M. And low professionalism. Yeah, people who are within the wakaf industry, there are people, but the qualifications is not that that high. Yeah, the qualifications for the wakaf has to be there. Yeah, for example, like this. If you know the role of fund manager, do not talk about the cash wakaf, just a normal fund manager, right? Fund manager, the role is they manage the funds from the investors, right? His or her knowledge of finance portfolio, yeah, will be used to manage the funds from the investor to gain the highest profit. Some portions can be delivered to the can be invested in the capital market. Some other portion can be invested in the real sector. Some other portion can be invested in the exchange rate. Yeah. So that's the knowledge that has to be there in the fund manager. Now, try to think if this is not investor, but this is a wakif who wants to generate their cash wakaf, same amount, huge amount, thousands of dollars, let's say. Can you imagine what will be the qualifications for the wakaf manager who is not only has to understand the financial portfolio, but has to also understand the fiqh muamalah, the contract, the usul fiqh, right? They have to understand. Yeah. But currently, those kind of qualifications is very, very much less in number. So low professionalism. Yeah. And low government support. Again, government, if you ask the context of Indonesia, alhamdulillah, in progress, yeah, it progressed well in terms of how government introduced and used the Islamic finance instrument. We have the retail suku, the first in the world, yeah, retail suku. We have green suku, we have CWLS, yeah. So those kind of instrument are already being used by Indonesian government. But the question is, yeah, how to actually overcome the challenges, lack of understanding, low professionalism, low government support. So one of the ways to overcome the challenges is to create the index. Yeah, to create the index. Why index is important? Because by knowing the index, you will know the position. Yeah, by knowing the index, you will know that, okay, this year our index is this number. And we will calculate again next year. Yeah. Next year, we calculate again the index and compare with the current year. Are we improving? Are we have a better performance in the WACOF or not? Are we significantly increase our index? So that's make easier to evaluate. So that's why with WACOF performance index, we will be able to know, yeah, what are the things that need to be improved. Because within the index that I want to talk right now is the comprehensive measurement. So with that comprehensive measurement, we will be able to know which part that need support by government, which part that is still lacking, and how to overcome those problems. Yeah. So in this context, yeah, we will. The index is national and subnational WACOF performance index. Yeah. Okay. What is the function of index? As a benchmark for WACOF manager to improve this business process. Yeah. We will able to know that you have not a good index. You know what? Because you need to improve this area, because currently this area is still lacking in your site. You need to improve this site, right? In that particular site, maybe different area, different place will have a different lacking of area, yeah, different lacking of item, yeah. So that is the first function of the index as a benchmark. And secondly, as a communication tool to inform public about progress of WACOF. So let's say people ask us, yeah, how developed is WACOF in Indonesia? Then if we don't have a measurement, what will we say? What will be our answer? It's difficult to answer. How to describe our achievement? If we have index, then easy to say that we have index and we have applied this index for this so many years, and we are improving in terms of index. And the things which make improve is this side, and easy to understand. So that's the way the important things, the function of index as a communication tool for the public. The third one is a scientific research of WACOF that can enable innovations. This index, of course, there will be another evaluations of the index in the sense that, okay, maybe next year, next 2 years after this, then people criticizing, yeah, our index by introducing another element which is not, let's say cover in this index. Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. That's better. Yeah. And the importance of index is that a need for WACOF authority to monitor and evaluate WACOF activities within jurisdiction. And this particular index, yeah, we measure, yeah, all the index in each of the provinces. Yeah, we will measure all the index in each provinces. Yeah, many kinds we will calculate, yeah, the index, and then we come up at the end is the index on the certain provinces. Yeah, then of course each province will have a different index. It may be the same, but most likely will be different. Yeah, let's say East Java will have this index, the number, yeah. West Java will have this index number, yeah, different number with the East Java, and the authority can use that one to make a ranking. Which one is the highest rank? That means the best, with the current situations, and which area that is still need a lot of improvement. With that, we will be able to know, these 5 biggest index means the best 5. They are in the highest rank because of what? Oh, because of this. And these 5 index at the bottom, at the bottom 5, they are so lacking on which side, on what area that they are lacking. So that's easy to later on make a program to overcome those problems, to improve the situation and so on. And then second one, the importance of the index to enhance the accountability and transparency of Wakaf manager. Okay. So if we talk about the literature with regard to the performance measurement, there are few performance measurement they are there in the as a preview study. For example, like this. This is written by Nurdin. Sorry. Hold on. Yeah, by Nurdin et al. In 2017. Yeah. Here. Developing a comprehensive performance measurement system for Wakaf institution. So they use or they create the performance measurement, but for Wakaf institution. So Wakaf institution means Nazir. Means Nazir. But we are different. We are not focusing on Wakaf institutions, but we are focusing on Wakaf development in the certain area. Wakaf development in East Java, is it better than Wakaf development in West Java? Is it better than Wakaf development in Aceh, let's say? And we will create the index for all of those region or province. Okay, next. This is also still the literature review, still by Nurdin. The framework for measuring Wakaf performance. Again, hopefully that this can also give a lesson learned for you that creating index by your own is a huge opportunity for you. There are still huge opportunity to create your own index. And this study by this Nurdin can also guide you how to create a Wakaf performance. You have to have input. And what will be the output? What will be the outcomes? How is the efficiency measure, social effectiveness? These are all the important things that you should consider when you are creating the index. And also the review study on performance measurement, there are a few. There are Sulaiman et al. 2009. It talks about the performance measurement in the IAUM Wakaf funds. And also in Iran, 2011, discuss about the operational efficiency of Wakaf institutions. It measures also the performance of the Wakaf institutions in the country of Iran. And also Dodi Siswantoro, he's my friend, lecturer in UTAS Indonesia. And his background is accounting, so he created a model index, Cash Wakaf Accountability Index, with this all dimension, finance, performance, public, and so on. Indicator and so on. How he construct this index, library study, experts judgment, Wakaf manager, and so on. Performance, public, account. This is focusing only on the accountability index. And Pieman et al. 2016 also look into the efficiency of the Wakaf institutions. He used the amount of Wakaf funds as a former, as a input, and then collected Wakaf as the later. Maybe this is the output. So basically, this is a DEA. And also again, in Nurdin, this Nurdin actually becomes the main part, main important part for you to create index. Yeah, a lot of important points. Yeah, in this Nurdin and et al. Together with the Salina Kasim. Salina Kasim here as a co-author in this paper. Yeah. Developing key performance indicators for Wakaf institutions. Again, for Wakaf institutions, yeah. And this on the right side, you'll see that all the steps in organizing, in creating the index, yeah, key performance indicators, what are the prerequisite and so on and so forth, yeah. Okay, indices to measure Wakaf performance, yeah. The previous construction only focus, so this becomes our research gap, yeah. The previous construction only focus on institutions of Wakaf, not the whole Wakaf system. Yeah, Wakaf index should incorporate financial, in terms other things is sustainability, transparency, effectiveness, yeah, input of Wakaf, yeah, output of Wakaf, yeah, and then social impact, yeah, good governance, accountability, and so on. So Wakaf index in our index is a comprehensive one. We are not focusing on the Wakaf institutions, but we are focusing on the Wakaf development in the certain area. Once we have the index for all the, once we have the Wakaf index for all the provinces, yeah, we will calculate that into a one single index for national. Yeah, and this is important for monitoring evaluations by Badan Wakaf Indonesia. Every year, if we create this one, we will able to see which one is developing, which one is lacking, and creating program out of it is very easy. Yeah. Our methodology, yeah, in creating this National Wakaf Index. Both types of data, primary, secondary data we use, yeah. Primary data, focus group discussion. We have 2 times, yeah, June and July 2020. In this focus group discussion, of course, we need to consider who are the important element in developing this index. Those people, we ask them to join in our focus group discussion. Yeah, who are they? The regulators. Yeah, we have Ministry of Religious Affairs, we have Indonesian Wakaf Board, BWI, Badan Wakaf Indonesia, and we invite as well the Wakaf managers, the practitioners, yeah, because they are, they do Wakaf, they manage Wakaf, yeah, and then academics is a researcher, yeah, and Indonesian Ulama Councils, yeah, to give an input in the context of Sharia compliance, yeah, and then KNEKS. KNEKS is it stands for National Islamic Economics and Finance Committee. Maybe you ask, what is KNEKS? Well, this committee aims to speed up the development of Islamic economics and finance. To speed up, yeah. This committee is not a regulator, yeah, because let's say bank in Indonesia, the bank industry, the regulator for bank is OJK, Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, yeah, and then same thing with the capital market is led by OJK. For zakat, we have regulator Basnas. Wakaf, we have Badan Wakaf Indonesia. So KNEKS is the role is to coordinate, yeah, as a coordinator for all the regulators, the ministry regulators as well as the ministry which has the Sharia, Sharia activity like tourism, yeah, Ministry of Tourism, we develop the halal tourism. So tourism ministry also part of the KNEKS, and also for other ministry. Yeah. So these are all the primary data in which we ask their opinion about our model. Yeah. We need to improve our model by getting their ideas, their input. Yeah. And we had that focus group discussion 2 times because we want to make the model to be the solid one. And second is the secondary data. Of course, the secondary data is very much challenging in the context of Indonesia, yeah, because not all the data is available, yeah. So we try our best, yeah, to get the data, yeah, and also this will make us easier in terms of what kind of data that we need to be introduced, yeah. By having this index, we will able to know, this is for the context of Badan Wakaf Indonesia as a regulator. It's easy for the Badan Wakaf Indonesia to later on create a policy on what kind of data that is needed to be created, yeah, needed to be created. I'm not sure whether any of you who are coming from outside Indonesia, let's say Malaysia or maybe African and so on, if you have your own experience in collecting the database for Wakaf in your country, you may, discuss your success, yeah, in creating database in Wakaf in today's workshop, yeah, because it will give a lesson learned for others, yeah. Okay. Okay, this is the most important part, yeah, in this today's workshop. Yeah, you can read the full in the website, yeah, Badan Wakaf Indonesia website. Just like I mentioned earlier, you can read full explanation in that paper. But for this time, due to the limited time, I will try to just discuss the important one. Yeah. So based on our focus group discussion, yeah, and based on our literature, yeah, we eventually come up with the 6 pillars. Yeah, there are 6 pillars that we think this is very, very vital in order to develop Wakaf, in order to develop the index. Yeah, of course, this index is very much comprehensive, yeah, and important for developing the socio-economic development. Yeah, first is regulatory factors. Yeah, that means the role of government. Yeah. Second is institutional factors. This is inside the internal, yeah, internal nazir or internal mutawali, yeah. And then number 3 is the process factors, yeah, the process factors. And then number 4 is the system factors, yeah. Number 5 is the outcome, yeah, and then the impact factors. So we discuss a lot among our internal. We discuss a long time, yeah, long time to how to create this index, a powerful index, yeah, important index, and so on. Yeah. Okay. Let's discuss one by one. So first, I discuss the X1, the regulatory factors. Yeah. So here you see that the previous okay. If you see the X1, yeah, the X1 itself, we have a X11, X12, and X13. So there are 3 elements, yeah, within the regulatory factors. Again, these 3 elements is coming from our thorough discussion and thorough reading literature review, and we come up with this one to get together also with the input in the focus group discussions. First is regulatory factor. Why we think that the government in the local government, the support of the local government is important. Yeah, of course this is important. Yeah, so regulation support. Yeah, regulation is the basic infrastructure that state must provide to enhance the Wakaf development. Yeah, in the certain area, in the certain province, we want to know how care is the local government towards the Wakaf. They must care because the Wakaf is for their own province, is for the developing socio-economic in that particular area. So government has to aware of itself on the importance of Wakaf. Yeah. So local government has to express their support to develop Wakaf in the form of regulation. Yeah, in the form of regulations. Yeah. Do they have the regulations on Wakaf? Yeah. In the context of Indonesia, some province, they do have local regulations on Wakaf, some other not. Yeah. Of course, for those who are having the local regulations with regard to Wakaf, will have a more marks so that the index will be much higher. Yeah. As compared to those of the region which doesn't have the support on the regulation by the local government. Yeah. To encourage Wakaf management, prevent Sharia non-compliant practice and encroachment and occupations of the Wakaf. So this is the reason for why regulation is important. Secondly is the budget support. Yeah. So one way to express the importance of the role of the local government in developing Wakaf in that particular area is by looking at how much budget do they provide to develop Wakaf in that particular area. Yeah. So national amount of budget support for the Wakaf, nominal amount of budget support for Wakaf development provided by government. Yeah. Again, local government has to understand that by developing their Wakaf in that area, in their respective area, they can actually lesser the burden of the government. Yeah. Why? If you read the writing by Professor Murad Zizakza, he is a Turkish, he is a historian, and he is the expert of Wakaf. Yeah, he said that if you want to help your government, then try to develop Wakaf. This is what he says. If you want to develop, or if you want to help the government, please develop Wakaf. So initially, when I was reading, when I was reading this statement, I'm not really understand about the meaning. But once I read all the papers, his writing, then I fully agree on his statement that yes, by developing Wakaf, we can ease the burden of government, and moreover, we can help the government avoiding riba. Yeah, avoiding riba. So what is the relationship between Wakaf and riba? That's very clear. Yeah, if people are contributing building for schools, if people are contributing building for hospital, if people are contributing Wakaf to develop the infrastructure like electricity company, the tollway, and other infrastructure, in which all those domain, infrastructure, education, and health are the domain of the government, but the people has been participating so much, then the burden of the government will be less. Then the government will not borrow loans from overseas, which is based on riba. Because people are helping the government. Yeah, when people are helping the government, the initial budget, which is deficit, which is normally government is looking for loans overseas, which is based on riba. Now the deficit is not there because all the people is helping to develop the educations, health facility, infrastructure. So deficit budget will become surplus budget, and no need for the government to borrow funds, which is based on riba. So basically, Wakaf can support the government by avoiding riba. Yeah, this has to be understood by the local government. Yeah, that's why in this index we appreciate. Yeah, we appreciate for the government who understand this one. So we give more marks in this index. Yeah, to government who give the budget support in developing the local authority Wakaf to develop Wakaf. Yeah. And number 3, training support. Yeah. Why training support by government is important? Of course, by giving the training support, this is about the governance. Yeah. When Nazir, yeah, in the context of Indonesia is different with the context of Malaysia. Malaysia, the role of Wakaf is via every state, yeah, every state, and I believe it is only one Nazir, yeah, which in each state, yeah. There is no private Nazir in the context of Malaysia. There is Mutawali in Malaysia, but Mutawali is not Nazir, yeah. Malaysian people who are donating their Wakaf land or cash Wakaf cannot go to Mutawali to register their Wakaf, cannot. They have to go to Nazir, which is a government in each state. Yeah. Later on, the Nazir can ask Mutawali to develop or generate the Wakaf asset. Yeah. But that's different in the context of Indonesia. In the context of Indonesia, not only the government can be a Nazir, private can also be a Nazir. Yeah, private can be a Nazir. Various private Nazir are there in Indonesia. Yeah, many of them need to be developed in terms of skills, professionalism, knowledge, and so on. Many of the private Nazir needs to be developed in terms of the skill, how to manage cash Wakaf, how to manage the idle Wakaf land, and so on. So that's why this training support is important. For those of the region, yeah, in that particular area whereby the government is giving the training support more frequently as compared to other government, so they will have more marks, yeah, and this mark can increase the index. So these are all the factors, yeah, in the regulatory factors, yeah. X2 is about the institution factor, yeah. Number 1 is the Mutawali or Nazir. We normally, since we have Nazir government and Nazir private, we normally can also call private Nazir Mutawali in the context of Indonesia, yeah. But very rare that we call Mutawali. We normally call Nazir, yeah. Mutawali management quality. Number of Wakaf institutions that has been certified with management quality certification, like ISO, yeah. Of course, having ISO is not easy, yeah. They need to prove that their governance is good, yeah, about the documentations, the administrations, the rule and regulations, the standard operating procedure has to be there in the Wakaf institutions in order for them to get the certifications. Of course, for those of the Wakaf institutions who has the certifications, then it's a good marks. We give more marks for those of the Wakaf institutions who has the certifications. We have a lot of mutawali, we have so much nazir in Indonesia, but not all has these certifications. Of course, by having these factors, then it encourages all the Wakaf institutions to have certifications. It will encourage them to have certifications. If not, that area will be having a low number of index, or low marks, low marks which lead to low index, And second is mutawali status. How many institutional mutawali exist in jurisdiction compared to individual mutawali? See, in the context of Indonesia, our regulation says that it is allowed for individual 1, 2, 3 persons to be a nazir. So it means that the one who is registering as a nazir is not the institutions, but rather individual by name. Muhammad, Umar, Ali, those three comes together and then register to be a nazir. In the Indonesian context, that is allowed. However, we think that individual mutawali or individual nazir is not last long, in the sense that what if they die? How to replace? And this create a lot of troubles. So that's why we are more, in the context of Badan Wakaf Indonesia, Badan Wakaf Indonesia encourage people to register wakaf, to register nazir as the institutional nazir, not the individual nazir. Because if the status is institutional nazir, then the person can be anybody, because the license is for institutional. Different with the license of individual. If the individual die, then who will be replacing this this person who died? Then it creates another lengthy bureaucracy. So that's why we prefer institutional mutawali as compared to individual mutawali. For those of the province who has more institutional mutawali, they will have more marks, more marks as compared to other provincial who doesn't have the a lot of institutional mutawali. Number 3, X3, process factor. There are 3 things which is important in the process factor. First is the collections. The amount of wakaf asset or principal collected by all mutawali in jurisdiction, database record. Of course, when a certain area has been successfully collecting a lot of wakaf assets, in terms of cash wakaf, in terms of the market price of wakaf land, the wakaf land has to be calculated as a market price, then we will appreciate more for those kind of province as compared to other province who are collecting wakaf in a small number. Management, how to this is important. Amount of profit generated by all mutawali in jurisdiction. See, wakaf has not only to be maintained, but also to generate income, to generate profit. That's why in our index, we appreciate province who are able to generate profit, as compared to other province who which is not generating profit. So the area which is able to generate more profit, they will be appreciated more. We give more marks to that index. Yeah. And reporting. Yeah. Amount of institutional mutawali reported their activities and financial conditions to the Waqaf authority. Reporting is just also important. Yeah. Waqaf institutions in the context of Indonesia, yeah, is not like banking industry, whereby if individual banking is not reporting their financial performance to regulator, yeah, OJK, then OJK will give the warning letter, yeah, until 2 or 3 times warning letter still did not report, yeah, then OJK can take back the license, yeah. So that is in the banking industry. But here in the Waqaf industry, it's not like that, yeah. Although the regulation says that reporting is a must, yeah, but in fact, in reality, yeah, not all the Waqaf institutions give a report to the authority. And this index will give more marks, or this index will appreciate those area or those province, yeah, in which the Waqaf institutions always report to the regulators. We give more marks to that area, to that province. Yeah. So that's number 3. Number 4 is the system factors. Yeah. Waqaf land legal status. Yeah. In the context of Indonesia, we have a huge number of Waqaf land, but the issue is that some other is not yet registered legally in the land office. Yeah, some undergoing process, some already got the Waqaf certificate from the land office, and some other is still orally by the Waqif, yeah, orally, but not yet followed by the proper administrations on Waqaf document. Yeah. So for those of the area in which they are having more Waqaf land legal status, we will appreciate more. We give more marks. Yeah, we give more marks as compared to other area in which the Waqaf land legal is still low in number. Yeah. And then Syariah compliant. Yeah. Proportion of Waqaf institutions in the jurisdiction that have Syariah supervisory board for the mutawali. Of course, this is another important thing. We need to ensure that the Waqaf institutions is always doing activity which is Syariah compliance. And in doing that, this Waqaf institutions has to hire the Syariah expert, yeah, the Syariah advisors. So for those of the area in which the Waqaf institutions have the Syariah advisor, we will appreciate more. Yeah. And then public information management. Yeah. Channel used by Waqaf authority to inform their activity to public. Yeah. And this is important. Yeah. Channel used by Waqaf authority. What channel that the Waqaf institution use? Do they use only their own website, or do they use the local newspaper, a national newspaper, or even the international newspaper? Each has different marks, yeah, towards the index. Yeah, for those of the Waqaf authority who use the national inform their activity to the national newspaper, more marks as compared to other area in which the Waqaf authority only has the website, not the national newspaper. Yeah. Outcome factors, productive Waqaf ratio. So we are about to finish. Yeah, I'm going to speed up because of the limited time. Yeah. Outcome factor, productive Waqaf ratio. How much Waqaf unit that is productive as compared to total units? So if we have a more productive, yeah, Waqaf unit, we will appreciate more, we give more marks. Yeah. Recipient outreach, how much recipients that can be reached by the Wakaf institutions. Yeah. If Wakaf, if a more recipient can be reached, then we will give more marks. Yeah. X6 impact factor, we also consider CBES index. Yeah. This CBES is introduced by our brother, Dr. Irfan, because I think this is still relevant in our context. This is measured the level of welfare based on household data and then group based on the poverty conditions. I'm not going to talk about the detail about the CBES. It will be in another opportunity. Maybe you can take a look at the website CBES, maybe in the Basnas, Basnas website. They have introduced, because initially CBES was used for zakat, but still relevant in the context of wakaf, so we use the CBES. And modified HDI, we consider about the education index and health index, so independency index also we consider is important things that we should also develop, measure the proportion of beneficiary household that has fixed income, saving, and business, and wakaf infrastructure. What extent Wakaf can provide infrastructure that support essential service needed by general public. I think that's all for my presentation, and this is the end. Thank you very much. I return back to the master ceremony. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Aditya Sukmana. What you have delivered about National Wakaf Index is very interesting and give us some fresh insight for current situations. Okay, let us continue to Q&A session. Prof. Aditya Sukmana.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, to all participants, feel free to chat on the box if you want to ask some question about the topic. Okay. Okay. To Eko Saputra, Mr. Eko Saputra, time is yours to ask.
Yes, I am. Yes. Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Excuse me, Professor Aditya. Thank you for very interesting presentation.
Mas Eko.
I want to ask some question. I've watched the presentation on our YouTube channel, and I subscribe, like, and share at your YouTube channel. There are you discuss about Wakaf blockchain.
Yeah.
And I want to ask more about the technical application of Wakaf instrument using blockchain. In this case, our fiqh legally is clear, considering that some fatwa authorities in several countries have thought that this mechanism does not have handle that we refer to as underlying asset, like we said about it, especially when donors are using Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency in the transactions, or this cryptocurrency is not safe, because some cases it's just a very speculative and very unstable in value, Professor. That's it. Thank you for your answer, Professor.
Thanks, Mas Eko, for the good point. Maybe I collect some few questions, and then I will directly answer. One more question, maybe.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Eko Saputra, for the question. And the next question from Mr. Ashraf Sulaimi bin Alamsyah. For
Yes, please, Mr. Ashraf.
Mr. Ashraf, you can ask the Professor Aditya Sukmana. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much to Master of Ceremony. So Ashraf here from Malaysia. So
Right.
firstly, thank you, Prof, for your insightful presentation. So on this opportunity, I want to congratulate the Prof and your team for this groundbreaking work. So my question is that relating to a factor in the Waqf Index, the first one is related to Sharia Supervisory Board. So would it be, what would be the mechanism, would be the centralized Sharia Supervisory Board in Indonesia Waqf Board, or only required at the institutional level? So my second question is that by using Waqf fund, especially cash Waqf investment will expose the principal to loss. So by using this Waqf index, how the authority or the people assess and evaluate the level of risk in terms of investment. So thank you, that's all from me.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Ashraf.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good point by Mr. Ashraf. I want to know more about you. Are you working in a certain institution, or you are still student?
I'm still a student, postgraduate student in IIUM in Malaysia.
Oh, what? A master or PhD?
Master, Prof.
Okay, in which faculty? CAMS or ICOL?
In Islamic Banking, IIBF.
Oh, IBF. Okay.
Yeah.
So I deliver a lecture somehow a few weeks back to IBF.
Yeah, really.
About the Waqf. Okay. Thanks for the questions. Yeah. I try to answer Mas Eko Saputra first. Yeah. With regard to blockchain. Okay. If you first of all, thanks to Mas Eko for watching my YouTube video on the Waqf blockchain. Yeah. And actually, Waqf blockchain is still very much in the early stage. Yeah. Still very much in early stage, in the sense that many things need to be done to develop Waqf with the concept of blockchain. Many things, yeah. In terms of the IT expert, in terms of the law, yeah, documentation, in terms of the what we need to prepare in the context of, let's say, the donors is from outside, yeah. So many things need to be settled, yeah. But we have to start. We have to introduce the people that, okay, this blockchain technique has a lot of advantage. One of the advantage is about the transparency, yeah, the transparency. We know that by not using blockchain, there is a possibility that fraud exists. Fraud, yeah, FRAUD, fraud exists, ya, atau in Indonesia curang, ya. How to avoid the fraud? One of them is through the blockchain, because by having the blockchain, yeah, the one who will be recording the transactions is not only one person. It will be all the users of the blockchain users. That's why it is very difficult to hack the system of blockchain. Although it is possible. I heard that there's a case whereby certain people wants to hack the blockchain, but the case is very limited in numbers. Yeah. So in terms of a Bitcoin, when you ask about the Bitcoin, what would be the case whereby a Bitcoin, and then maybe Bitcoin, Waqf Bitcoin, let's say it is allowed or not? Yeah. Well, as I said in the beginning, that this is still in the early stage. We need to discuss, we need to have more papers, yeah, in the journal, so that people will consider that and then develop another, so that our writing in the paper will be the guidance for the Waqf practitioner, will be the guidance of the regulators, and so on. So in terms of the Bitcoin, because I teach also the monetary economics, Islamic monetary economics, and Bitcoin is part of this discussion. And I learned a lot from my supervisor, in IUM. I was graduating from IUM in the 2010, and my main supervisor is Prof. Azmi Umar, my co-supervisor Mansur Ibrahim, and my second co-supervisor is Prof. Ahmad Kamil Medin Mira. He's a dinarist. Dinarist means that person who is the proponent of the gold dinar. And he said that in one of his writing in the journal by Bank Indonesia, he write about the Bitcoin in the Islamic perspective. He said that Bitcoin is not Islamic. Why? Because Bitcoin doesn't have the underlying asset. What is the underlying asset on the Bitcoin? There's nothing there. And not only that, Bitcoin is not Islamic because it has a gharar kabir, a big uncertainty. If you follow the price movement of Bitcoin, you will see that the price of the Bitcoin is very much dynamic. 1 year, it can reach to 100 million rupiahs. So that's impossible for the real sector. I mean, you will not find a certain piece of land in let's say in Indonesia, 1 meters this price, and after a year, the increase in price is million, 1,000 times. It's impossible. But that happens in the Bitcoin. So that's why the gharar is so big. So that's why in the context of blockchain in the Wakaf, how will we use the money? Of course, that there will Bitcoin will not be used, because Bitcoin and blockchain is a different thing. Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency. Blockchain is the technology to develop the Bitcoin. Technology. So it's different thing. Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency. We have Dogecoin. Dogecoin is proposed or promoted by Elon Musk. And blockchain is just a technology, IT technology to support the Bitcoin. So that's two different things. Of course, we can only use blockchain without using the Bitcoin. That can be done. And this technology of blockchain can be used for the Wakaf industry. Of course, we are not using Bitcoin, but we will use other Sharia compliance way of doing these things. So I hope, Mas Eko, I hope I answer your question. Once again, another things which I add for your questions about the Bitcoin. There is a cryptocurrency. Prof. Kamil mentioned that there is a cryptocurrency which is halal, which is Islamic. Bitcoin is not Islamic because there is no underlying asset. If you want to find the Islamic cryptocurrency, please do search 1 gram. 1 gram. It is produced in Dubai. 1 gram. 1 satu. ONE gram. GRAM. Gram biasa. 1 gram. That is introduced in Dubai, and they claim that this is Islamic cryptocurrency because 1 gram is backed up by gold commodity. Pure gold. So he said that 1 gram can be used. So a lot of study again for the 1 gram and so on. Okay, now I try to move to my brother Ashraf, with regard to Sharia Supervisory Board. In this context, in the context of Indonesia, we have private Nazir, or maybe in the context of Malaysia, whereby Nazir is only 1 in every state. But you have Mutawali there, right? Mutawali is just partners of Nazir in developing the wakaf. In our context, Nazir, private Nazir, we need to ensure that this Nazir, when they manage their wakaf asset entrusted by the Waqif, they have to be Syariah compliance in the way Nazir managing the asset. Some other Nazir, private Nazir, they don't have Syariah advisory board. How can then be ensure that all the operation is based on Syariah if they don't have the Syariah advisory board? So that's why this index in particular mentioned that every institutions who have license of Nazir, they have to have the Syariah advisor. This is to ensure that the wakaf is managed properly according to the Syariah. So every institutions who has the license, Nazir license, or Mutawali maybe in your case, And second, about the level of risk. Okay, this is a good point whereby does this index measure the level of risk? Because we know that risk has to be considered by Mutawali or Nazir. Well, my short answer is that it is not directly measure the level of risk. We only measure things which can be directly observed. Like one of the factors, let's say, how much profit do they get in a certain area? In the certain area, in the certain province, for those of the province who can generate more profit as compared to other province, this province will be given more marks so that the index will increase. This is the appreciation for that particular area in which they are able to generate profit out of the wakaf asset that they have. So it's appreciations, more profits, because this index is actually, the level of risk has to be measured by individual wakaf institutions. So we let the wakaf institution to measure their own risk. We only look into how much profit do you get, So in terms of mitigating the risk, it's your choice. You can apply a different kind of risk method to mitigate the risk. We only see how much profit do you get, Later on, if you violate the rules, let's say, violate the Sharia rules, then there will be another story, they have to meet the BWI as a regulator and mention why they violate the wakaf assets and so on and so forth. I hope this answer, Brother Ashraf. Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Any other things?
Okay, thank you, Prof, for your answer, for your insightful answer. We have 3 more questions in chat box here. I will read for you, sir. The first question is, in case there is a mismanagement of the wakaf fund by the wakaf manager, does Indonesia have a special court law for the issue?
Yeah, thanks, Brother Abdul Wahid Yusuf. It's a good question. In case there is a mismanagement of the wakaf funds by the wakaf manager, does Indonesia have the special court law for the issue? Okay. Let me just inform before I answer. Let me just discuss the meaning of mismanage. Mismanage can be through low skill, low skill of so that they don't know how to do things, but they are not against Sharia. It's just that they cannot get more profit. This can also, let's say like this: if there is a Nazir and there is a Nazir is entrusted to manage idle wakaf land. Yeah. In this strategic area, actually the land is very strategic. And Nazir, yeah, he doesn't have a good skill how to manage the land. So he only developed the land for the, let's say a small shops to be rented for the third party. A small shop to be rented for the third party. Whereas in that particular area, it should be the hotel, or it should be a big building to be rented for offices for other party. Because of the low scale, he only managed to develop the small shop. Is this considered the mismanaged because of the low scale, right? And mismanaged can be done also by doing things against Sharia. In that particular context, of course, it goes to the court. We have a court, but normally it's not directly go to court. Badan Wakaf Indonesia as a regulator will go into that issue first and study the issue. Yeah, what factor causes this to happen? Yeah, and then try to avoiding the court and try to solve within the musyawarah, within the discussion first. Yeah, if this can be done and every party agree, yeah, on this on the specific solution, that's fine. They don't have to go to court. But if either party is not satisfied about the proposed solutions, they can go to court. Yeah. So the answer is yes. Yes, we have a special court, but not actually the special court. It's just a normal court. Yeah, normal court in the our existing court. Yeah. Okay. Second, another things.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Raditya. And the next question is from Ms. Diana Nurindrasari. My name is Diana Nurindrasari. I will ask to Prof. Raditya about measurement performance. How we can measure for social prosperity or particular condition which can be quantified with number or can be written with qualitative methods.
Yeah, this is part of our issue that we discuss. Yeah, and then we try our best to accommodate this thing. But again, at the end, because we are creating index, which is number, then everybody, not everybody, I mean, every issue has to be quantifiable, has to be put in number. Yeah, let's say you want to create a social impact, let's say. Yeah, okay, I agree that measuring social impact is difficult, but at least, yeah, at least we try our best to accommodate it. Okay, social impact, let's say how much students that enjoy educations in the school which is based on wakaf. How much students, right? So we calculate the number of students. Yeah, we calculate the number of students. Are we going to calculate each students? Well, we have a bracket. Let's say number one, the number of people who enjoy is between thousands to 3,000, let's say. Number two, 2,000 to 5,000, let's say. So number two is better than number one. Yeah, so we have things like that, quantifiable. Every social issue has to be put in the number so that we can calculate the index. Yeah. Okay. MC. There's a question from Laili.
Oh.
Dr. Laili, does it include the measurement of risk management? Is it aimed for individual, household, or organization? Well, yeah, I think risk management is the same with the question raised by Ashraf. Yeah, We are now not so much on measuring the risk, yeah, but we are more towards the output that is occur in every province. Yeah. How much profit do you have? How much money? How much cash wakaf do you collect? Do you able to collect this year? Let's say, yeah. For mitigating the risk and so on and so forth, we let the individual wakaf institutions to find methods, suitable method to mitigate the risk so that they are able to get more profits. I think that's my short answer. Yeah, Laili. It's already answered. Yeah, thanks for your questions.
Thanks for the question. We still have time. Anybody want to ask about the materi?
Yeah, I think one last question. I think in Surabaya now is about to Maghrib.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see, Professor.
Yeah, I think one question is from Ahsin Aligori. Okay. Yeah. Wakaf performance index is so complex and tricky. One question: how to make each indicator can be verified until impact and can be proven by Nazir? Sorry, I don't really get the questions. How to make each of the indicator can be verified until impact and can be proven by Nazir? Okay, when we design our indicator, yeah, when we design our indicator, our proposed indicator is through the literature review. Yeah, through the literature review, we look into all those possible indicators, and we present indicators to the focus group discussion, in which the participants are all the experts. We want to get their opinion about our indicators, and they have provide some suggestions. So we make improvement, and we come up with the existing indicators. So that's my answer. Yeah, I think now start Azan in Surabaya.
Okay, thank you, Professor Raditya Sukmana, for the question, for the answer from question. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, our time is very limited.